And he gave us this impossible command, impossible to human beings, impossible to religious people, because most religious people are trying to work their way to heaven. And they don't necessarily love righteousness. They're not hungry and thirsty for righteousness, but they want to be right. And they want to be right about being wrong. Isn't it interesting that people argue that they're right, and they're trying to be right about how wrong they can be, about how sinful they can be, about how many mistakes they're going to always and continually make, and they embrace that as if it's what Christ really wants us to do. Stay sinful, stay weak, stay pathetically dirty, stay filthy. And so many people battle for their right to be filthy. They battle for their right, and they're promising that they have the right and the belief to always stay dirty and filthy and sinful. And they will argue with you that that's righteous, that's the right thing to do. And that's because I believe if you really want to know if a person is following Jesus, because following Jesus is the faithful path. Following Jesus, we talked about the different kinds of faith you can have. The kind of faith that God is looking for is whether or not you're following his son, and following his son is living his example, living out his example. And Jesus says, I'm going to give you this impossible command, but with God, all things are possible. I want you to believe that all things are possible, even if you don't think you can do it. Even if you don't think you can do it, I want you to believe it's possible anyway. Now that's a challenge, especially when people are on the topic of sin. I'm not perfect yet, but I believe it's possible. And that's basically all I can really interject at the moment, because I know I'm not perfect, and I know I have sin, and I know I still have struggles. That's irrelevant to the teachings of Jesus. Jesus' teachings to go and sin no more is irrelevant to whether you think you're going to keep sinning or not. That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Did Jesus say that or not? Did Jesus mean that or not? Did Jesus tell the woman, go and don't sin anymore? Did Jesus continuously say over and over to people, stop sinning? He did, over and over. It's all through the scriptures. He meant it. Paul meant it. And God wants us to live righteous. I think the difference between religious people